Hello again. So, time for another video. I've talked about this topic before, but it's still going on. So, I want to give a heads up for those who don't know. I'm going to be talking about
Zersetzung. Zersetzung.
hopefully you heard that. But anyways, it says Zersetzung, German for decomposition, is a psychological warfare technique used by the Ministry for State Security, Stasi, to repress political opponents in East Germany during the 1970s and 1980s. Zersetzung served to combat alleged and actual dissidents through covert means, using secret methods of abusive control and psychological manipulation to prevent anti-government activities. So that wasn't too long ago. I actually thought it had started in like the 30s when Hitler was in power or whatever. But it says the 1970s and 80s, so that was not too long ago, and it's still going on today. So, let's see. It says the invasive spying and disorientation tactics used by the East German secret police, Stasi, meant there were significantly fewer possibilities for civil disobedience and direct action than political grassroots activists have today in places such as Western Europe and North America. It says, nevertheless, political activists in East Germany managed to start a grassroots revolution in 1989. Okay. It says, because non-state organizations were prohibited in the GDR, networking and coordination between activists was informal. Independent groups and networks stayed in contact through newsletters and the exchange of campaign materials, and there was a mix of local and regionally coordinated covert and open actions. Activists in the GDR also campaigned on issues that will feel familiar to many campaigns today: anti-nuclear and peace issues, challenging economic paradigms of growth and consumption at any cost, resistance to an undemocratic state and its activities, propagating and practicing sustainable choices versus exploitation of environment and animals. There was a strong emphasis on DIY culture with egalitarian, equitable principles. Politically, most activists in the GDR in the 1980s self-identified as a socialist or anarchist. Okay, let's see. Okay. After the East German Popular Uprising of June 1953, suppressed by Soviet troops, the government gave the Stasi the task of systematic surveillance and prevention of unrest in the population. Initially, this took the form of a brutal physical repression, imprisonment, and physical abuse, including torture by police and secret police. But this changed during the 1970s when the GDR became more interested in gaining a positive international image, and the repression of activists became more subtle. The Stasi redefined the military term Zersetzung, attrition or corrosion, here, to name their harassment tactics. The aim was to disrupt the working of groups in the lives of individuals to such a degree that their activism became ineffective or, more preferably, ceased altogether. The aim of the Zersetzung was to switch off the group by rendering it ineffective, with an interim goal of hindering any positive media or public exposure. The usual ways to switch groups off were to create conflict between members, particularly Useful subjects for sowing discord were those of a phys- philosophical or political nature, money, and personal relations. Hinder and sabotage activities by the use of one or more infiltrators who would agree to do tasks but not get round to doing them, lose materials and equipment, repeatedly request changes and further edits of materials to slow down production, attempt to divert the group into more harmless activities, etc. Isolate the groups from other activists, e.g., by spreading rumors regarding unacceptable behavior and political views. Okay, I'm going to stop there um, and just say, what does that sound like? Does it sound like gang stalking to you or organized stalking? That's what it sounds like to me. This is what I've been saying the whole time, about this whole thing. Like, it just continued. Like, they just evolved it. They added technology to it. Some say direct energy weapons or DEWs, cell phones, and all this kind of stuff. So they added all this other stuff to it. But they just, modernized it, let's say. Okay, so it goes on to say the choice of tactics was based on psychological profiling and intelligence about the group members, particularly who plays what role, who fulfills what kind of task, what are relationships within the group like, who hangs out with whom. Informants were the usual way to gain information on a group and were also used to implement the plans to incapacitate a group and sabotage its activities. In activist circles, the informants were also never Stasi or police officers, but were usually existing members of the groups who had been pressured, persuaded, or blackmailed into helping the Stasi. Sounds like gang stalkers to me. Or a suitable outsider who would try to infiltrate and become trusted by the group, like here in Britain, more activist groups in the GDR welcome new members. So again, if that doesn't sound like gang stalking to you or organized stalking, covert, community harassment, I don't know what does. But anyways, I'll put the link below where I got this from. It says Max Hertzberg, Spies, Crime, and Hope Punk is what it says. But anyways, I just found this interesting because, yes, it still goes on today. So, like I said, I don't make this stuff up. Because people will say, oh, you're just paranoid, all this kind of stuff, what they'll say to, discredit someone or whatever. But anyways, there it is in black and white. So, and like I said, it still goes on today. People are still doing this stuff, for money or gift cards or whatever the hell. I don't know. I've heard different things. I don't know. But anyways, it's a horrible thing. But anyways, it does go on. But like I said, I'm one of those, I won't stay quiet about it. I'm going to continue to speak about it and expose it and all these kinds of things and, hopefully help someone out along the way. But anyways, that's all for right now. This is me signing off. As I always say, be bold, be brave, be fabulous to you, and above all, always be true to you. Smooches.